really strange on how some days it just gives you the middle finger and some days it gives you the, peace, brother, let's do this. It's really strange.
Yeah. Speaking of strange, I had a thought and I lost it entirely.
Wow. I thought I was getting older.
Senile is the right word for me.
Yeah, you're aging. What's that like, Jack? You probably never saw that movie. Never mind. Robin Williams, Jack, when he ages like 3 times faster.
Of course, I've seen that movie. It's Robin Williams.
Okay, felt like one of those that nobody ever talks about. Not that it's like, it's probably very low on his filmography, but still.
I feel like people don't talk about it enough, but I feel like his acting in a film like that, Patch Adams kind of takes the everybody automatically goes to that one,
Yeah,
which
that's a good movie.
that's fair. Like that's fair. Now, What Dreams May Come is probably a masterpiece. It's really kind of sad that it it's
I've never seen it. I don't know if you're headed to a spoiler, but
no, it's effects don't hold up as well today as they did. And so when you do get to watch it, just know that it's very stuck in the year it came out, which for the year it came out, masterpiece. And nobody should ever remake it, in my opinion, because I don't think anybody can ever top Robin Williams' performance in that film. There's just no way.
was that like late '90s, early 2000s?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I never. The cover just didn't do anything for me. It's just him standing in like a coat, jacket, suit thing, and it's just it doesn't. I don't know. Like I need a trailer, I think, for it. Like just seeing the movie cover never was a oh, I gotta see that kind of a thing.
It's a very depressing movie.
Yeah, yeah. Then maybe the cover's correct then, but
Yep.
um, dude, I have heard some crazy movie opinions. Went to a kid's birthday party. My son, friend of his, friend of my wife's. We went there and met a guy named Isaac who commented on one of the videos, which was really nice that he checked us out. But he said that he'd never seen 89, 92, or Forever Batman. I was like, that. I know he's like his first movie experience was Batman Begins, and he said that that was the worst one. And like me and the other dude, they were like, yeah,
Oh,
I know, dude. And like he was like, I think Pattinson's the best Batman. Like just hot takes I'd never heard. It was crazy. Like, and then like he had to go because his kids and everybody, it was time to go. I was like, no, don't go. I need you to keep going crazy. Like, I don't know. It was I can't like you had to if you're a superhero DC fan, you'd have to actively try to not watch those movies.
yeah. Like even so, that's two of the greatest Batman films made, and one of the middest Batman films made, and you just haven't seen them.
Crazy.
Nothing at all. Which I've got love for blah, 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 for forever. I know this is not great by any means, but I got serious love for that movie. How can you not see that? How can you not see 89?
I mean, arguably, Batman Forever is the best Batman comic like movie that we have. Like if you looked at a Batman comic kind of a thing, and then you went to Batman Forever, it feels like a comic book movie, right? Like it's got good vibes of '89 and '92, and then it's got vibes of '66 Batman. Like it's a really good comic booky movie, especially for its time, and it's lighthearted, it's fun, it's flashy. Like I'm not saying it's a high quality Batman movie. I'm just saying like there's
Yeah,
some credibility to it that a lot of people don't even give it.
no, I'm with you. It's got a lot of things going for it. It just the execution wasn't done that well, and I can admit that and still thoroughly enjoy every second of the movie.
Yeah,
Um, I think that there was a better movie in there somewhere,
yeah.
like maybe cut, maybe a different script. I think that that movie could have been not nearly what like Batman Begins is. I don't know who this person is, but this person, you
It was wild. And then another guy at work said the same thing, that he thought Begins was the worst Batman movie, and I was like, y'all need to go back and rewatch this movie because I feel like you're just not getting it. Like the 3 act structure, the cinematography, the Bat Cave, like the acting is the best other than, Heath Ledger. Like all of it is just, it's the best in the trilogy, and everybody just sleeps on Begins. It's crazy.
Batman Begins is, as I've said before, is my all-time favorite Batman film, and it's wild to how much people automatically go to Dark Knight because of Heath Ledger, because of everything that happened, and then they jump from that now to the Batman, and just everybody misses Batman Begins, and I'm like, dude, this movie has everything. You get the Bruce Wayne origin story, you get the street criminal mentality, you get the little bit of a supernatural, but nothing over the top, and you get the martial arts, you get the training, you get a believable villain, you get two believable sub villains, you get an easy to follow story that doesn't just punch you in the gut over and over and over again for watching it. It's a really well done Batman film, and I don't get it. I don't how can no.
I think it's just because you don't have like a really like super thematic, super larger than life villain. Like, you know what I mean? Like Ra's al Ghul
That
is.
and maybe these people are judging a movie that doesn't you don't get Batman for a good chunk of the movie. Which I mean, people I can that their attention span can't sit through a film like that. And that's fair. In some cases, I can't do it either, but Batman Begins is worth it to me. Like the build up is definitely great, and the payoff is worth the whole build up. I don't know, man. Although I do kind of want to know what happened to the railway system in the later Dark Knight trilogy films.
Well, that's the problem. They shot on a soundstage for Batman Begins, and then they actually went to like Chicago and other places like that, to where the whole vibe of the city and the the it just it's just not as good. It just, I mean, you lose that like
I do.
vibe.
The one thing I do appreciate, and I think this is a little bit Christopher Nolan, is the color grading on the posters was a dead giveaway for the color grading throughout the film, which was a dead giveaway for the mood of the film, which was a lot of foreshadowing, right? So it begins. I think the hook for me when I first saw it was the poster with the orange instead of just all black, blue, lighting like that, which is the tradition. Fine, but seeing that kind of that dusk mentality with the Batman, I was like, "Yep, yep, I'm sold. I'm sold. Sold."
Yeah, it's strange how like same thing with '89 Batman. You went from that rust, the dusk vibe, the dirty vibe of the city, and then in the next movie, you go to that blue, that clean, that cold. Which, I mean, it does work because it's set in the winter, time, but like, or Christmas time, so it works. But it's just, I prefer, yeah, the dirty, dusty, the dusk esque. Yeah, that's what I prefer, and I do like that that's in the Batman. I just think that it's so damn long. Like God dang it, that movie's long. Um,
And the Batman just if that movie was like 35, 40 minutes shorter and cut off the whole car explosion, van explosion, flood, adrenaline shot that looks like Venom, that if it cut that whole section out, I think you've got a much better movie.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Dude, the other hot take, and you're not a big fan of the franchise, so this will be easy. But the other hot take is, my cousin Joey said that the original Star Trek is the best out of that original run, out of those original 5 or 6 movies. He was like, "That's the best one," and I was like, "That is by far the least the most hated out of all of them. It's the worst. Like, there's not even another one that comes close. It was crazy. Like, it's kind of cool that like when you hear people that like defend a movie that's not super terrible, it's just blah to a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't point at it and say there's one terrible thing. The movie's just super slow and it doesn't have the vibe of the rest of the movies. It didn't quite find its footing yet. But it's amazing. It makes me want to go back and actually rewatch that dread slow piece of doo doo. Which I don't know. I might actually. I bought the whole, or I bought those twice now on Blu-ray, so I probably should eventually watch them.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really got into that. I watched a little bit of the show as a kid just because, it was on, and what millennial child didn't watch some of that in the back. I never got super into it. I can get some references and appreciate what it was doing, and definitely appreciate what it brought to the forefront of TV and film because the long drawn out story, the over the top characters, that it did a lot. It did a lot. So I give a lot of respect where it's due. Just not my cup of tea.
Right. Right.
I think
Well,
that's it.
all right. So,
Real quick, back
what-
to real quick, you were saying about people with wild movie things. I don't know what group it was in, but somebody posted that Midsommar and Babadook and The Witch and um, Hereditary are all garbage films. No,
I haven't
they're
seen
not.
the Babadook, but Hereditary is one of the best horror movies in the past decade.
They're not my favorite. They're not exactly what I look for in a horror movie. I'm more of a slasher guy. Those films all have their place in horror. They're all fantastically shot. The story is great. The foreshadowing throughout the movie is brilliant. The dialogue, the casting, photography, color grading, the grain, the score, everything is used so perfectly in those films. There's nothing trash about any of them. Nothing at all. And I pretty much said, it's one thing to have an opinion. It's another thing to say that it's trash because you don't like it.
Right.
There's nothing trash about these movies, and I went down through a list. Person never commented on mine, and my comment got likes. But it's like, if you're going to say it's absolute, you got to have something to back it up. Also, these films are introducing a whole new generation of horror fans. Like, that's awesome. And arguably, I don't care, the piano wire scene in Hereditary still it's not my favorite movie, but it's right here. Like, it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. That and Midsommar is not my cup of tea. I really felt like the director heard all the praises from Hereditary and like was like, "Oh, I am awesome," and then he like kind of Quentin Tarantino'd himself, where he just was like he doubled down on everything. He's like, "Oh, you like that? Here's even more." You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like it was. Some of it's long and drawn out, and like some of it's like really reaching, and it's like lingering. It's like, look here, look, wait, and it's like I don't know, like it just didn't have the emotional and like the climax that I thought the whole movie was building to. Like it just felt like dude really was patting himself on the back.
I get some of that, but at the same time, the film is still executed very, very well.
Right.
And
Oh yeah.
garbage. Like,
Right.
I couldn't. You can't. Those are horror cinema. Like that. It's not just a horror movie. Those are all. They fall in under the cinema category, in my opinion. There's Yes, there's problems with every film that's ever been made, but those, as far as horror goes, don't have a whole lot of problems. It's just they're wild.
Right. When they fall in that category of like of elevated horror, which just is more thought provoking, more in depth, more twists and stuff like that. Like, and there's just not there's elevated horror, but like this has got real level and production value and like you said, very well thought out. Like, you know what I mean? So there's a little different. Like, you can go find more elevated horror, but like it is a little bit more few and far between. I feel like what I would say is elevated horror that I've seen anyway. But
Yeah.
But all right, well let's move on to Scream and get to our rankings. We're gonna rank the Ghostface Killers, the openings, the third acts, and then we'll re-rank the movies again, even though it didn't change a whole lot. So let's go with let's go with openings first.
Oh man,
What's your least favorite opening?
part 5.
Yeah.
It just was like it was a copy and paste of some of the older entries. The only difference is you get left with the person lived, and the more that I've seen about that opening, the less I like it. The more I see about anything Scream 5, the less I like it. So it's just not helping the case for me. I do think that the ghost face was the introduction to the character in the movie was cool with the it was cool to hear the voice again after all these years. It was cool that, the phone call, the conversation was good. I didn't feel a whole lot in that scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably go with my least favorite is probably 4. Like I like the effort and the fun that it was trying to have and the meta and the movie within a movie and like all that different stuff. It's a lot of fun, but like you spend so much time with different characters and then you land on the characters that you actually open with and they get little to no screen time and then it just the chase scene's not very good. It just it's fine and I appreciate it. It's not terrible. It just feels cheap and kind of I don't know, glossy. It doesn't feel dark enough. It's not mean enough. You know, I mean, it's just I don't know.
No, I get you, and honestly, that's why it's my number 4, or
Yeah,
what next is it's all right. Like it's fun. It feels it's connected from the film that happens. It like I feel like it would have been better suited to an earlier Scream film, and when they're going with this super dark late 2000s motto that's going on. It's meh, you know?
yeah. It's good, but it's meh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My next one is 5. And it's got some fun to it. Like the Roger Jackson's got he's got a lot more to say in it. Like, and he starts the slow build again, just like in the first movie. Like, there's a really it kind of goes back to that first movie where it never really did again. Like the you start off slow without the kind of growl voice and the angry voice. You try to befriend the person. You try to kind of wiggle your way in, and then you make the twist into the dark spot. Like I don't know. It was a bit more fun. It was actually kind of cool to see the locks lock and unlock, even though I thought that was a bit of a stretch. And like obviously somebody has to know you or be like really good at that kind of hacker stuff. And I
Yeah.
was just like, that is a stretch, but it is cool. It kind of updates it a little bit. The shots that the movie has of like Ghostface of like getting up or moving around, and it's like from the floor and it kind of twists as they rise, trying to make Ghostface larger than life when the character's not really lived up to the reveal and since like the third movie. But yeah, I don't know. It was a solid opening, and it was different that the first one survived.
Yeah.
The only time the opening survived.
Yeah. That's fair. Oh, I, no.
Yeah.
This one's gonna make you mad. Uh, part 3 is my next.
Yeah, that's probably most people's.
It's not bad. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. You can tell that the budget is kind of through the with it. Like, oh, we're gonna have the car scene. We're gonna have the phones. We're gonna have like
What if?
it's all over. Like this is huge. This is gonna be a big deal, and that's cool. The fake out is the coolest part. That is just great. I love that part. I love that you get that. Oh, it's just me, and there he is. But overall, mid tier for me. I can't. It just I mean, the ones above it just they're better.
Dude, it gets bonus points for Creed. I'll come back to that though. Um, my number 4 is 2. Um, 2 is 2 is solid. It ups the stakes. You know, it gives you more time to get invested in more than one character. From the first movie, you only got Drew Barrymore. This one, you got a boyfriend and girlfriend. You know, you got that like tension between the relationship. You know, I've always liked Jada, and I know everybody hates her now, and I'm like, I'm not gonna weigh in on like what's happening today, but for whatever reason, like I watched A Different World growing up, the spinoff of the Cosby Show, which is also some, but no, I've always liked her, not like been the biggest fan, but whenever she's on screen, I've always been happy to see her, so that kind of bumps it up, even though it's my number 4. And Epps is awesome as well, and like just seeing all the Ghostface in the theater, and then the stabs, that again, a little bit of a twist of like thinking it's your boyfriend, then being betrayed, and then like dying up there on screen, and the way it's shot is very like thematic and almost like opera kind of like, and the movie would kind of go into that later on with the school and like the play and everything else. So it's a good opening. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of long for like characters that you don't know, that weren't in the first movie. That's not obviously later. Like it is on purpose why they're the ones killed, but like it seems kind of long. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Man, we're just gonna keep doing this, aren't we? My next one's actually this one. So, Scream 2, it's in my top 3. Like that's a big deal. Like it's third. I did love it when it first came out. I think that was the part of the film that I paid attention to the most because it was so cool to see it in the theater, and then like with the theater and they're watching the movie and the screen and the scene, and then I mean that played later on in Scary Movie. Like it's a big deal. A scene that is synonymous with horror. Like that that's epic. That's awesome. That's forever going to be ingrained in horror fans' minds as one of the coolest scenes. Well done.
Yeah, yeah. And then my number 3 is 6, the newest one that came out. I like Samara Weaving. It, it's just strange how like you have Randy's niece who knows a lot about movies, and like nerds out, and then you got Kirby back in this movie and she nerds out, and then Samara Weaving is a teacher, a professor of horror studies or something like that, and like she's dropping knowledge. Like it felt a little too it just felt a little too much. Like the movie just was like movie nerds everywhere, all at once. Like, you know what I mean? And I get it; it's a Scream franchise, and that's kind of what it was built on. And now they're involved in that, so it kind of works. But I do like the twist where the killer unmasked. It's fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to stop the Scooby Doo stuff and let's just get on board and go, or let's not do the Scooby Doo stuff and just commit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that was cool. The hot and cold is epic. The little shrine is cool. Jason playing in the background's awesome. The body in the fridge is also cool. Um,
Yeah.
Again, it throwaway characters I just don't really care about. That it goes on a little long, has twists and turns. But it works for the ending of the movie, how like the reveals and stuff like that, and then it works also that those people were already intertwined, and then the other people were intertwined. And sorry if I spoiled anything. I should have put spoilers, but obviously probably people know it's probably going to be spoilers since we're talking about first, third act, and whatever. But spoilers if you haven't seen it. But yeah, that's my number 3.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I'm down to my final 2, which
That's a mistake.
it's funny because I will not say that it is actually better than. It's just my personal favorite order. And that's what this is all about. My number 2 is the original Scream.
God, that's nuts.
Iconic, brilliant. Barrymore thing. I mean, come on, the marketing around that alone, just to get people in the seats, and then nope, that's not who you think it is. It's just what a great opening. There's no challenging that. It is the best in the franchise, but it's not my favorite.
I can't believe you actually. I don't understand. Okay, all right. I know. I know.
What's your number two?
Oh my God. So what? Oh God. I'm just gonna go back to back, and then I'll let you explain your number one because it's gonna need some splaining. You got some splaining to do.
That's
Uh,
fine.
so I've so my last two are 1 and 3, and obviously, like you said, one is iconic, epic, all the way around, and everything else. Like three is, I think three lands the hardest because you have a character you actually have. He was a small part in the first movie. He was a bigger part in the second movie, and you thought maybe he'd be a bigger part in the third movie. And you finally got to see Cotton become the famous person that he always wanted to be and get everything he wanted, money. He had a younger gal, like he was in Hollywood and he was starring in a movie, and like you see him watch, like his own show is in the background, like he's on the phone, he's got multiple phones, he's talking to his girlfriend and another gal, like and then the traffic scene's awesome, the tension there, her getting out of the shower scene's classic horror. You got Creed in the background, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. Like, uh, it's just awesome. I don't like the voice changer. I got to be honest. Like, I don't hate it. I just don't care for it. Yeah, like you were saying, that twist where he's just like, "Have I got a story to tell you?" And then bam, it's Ghostface coming at you. It works well because like she's caught off guard, and then he's caught off guard later, where he kind of gets wounded by her, and then kind of get, you know what I mean? Because Liv Schreiber's a big dude, so it kind of helps kind of tone him down and make it believable that he couldn't go toe to toe. I don't know, done so well, and then boom, stabbed in the freaking head. Like it's just is a great opening, and it's my number two. I
Yeah.
mean, number one is classic. It is the best opening to any horror movie, most iconic opening to any horror movie ever. More than Halloween, more than Friday the 13th, anything. Nightmare on Elm Street, nothing touches it. Like across the board, 9 out of 10 times that original Scream is gonna open. It's gonna win. Like it has fun with film fans instantly. Like it's something you've never seen before like that. It had a mean, vicious killer that like stabbed multiple times and hung her upside down. The parents can hear her as she's getting dragged away, and they're so close, but they can't get to her. Like the popcorn on fire, like her trying to hide and seeing him running down through the hallways and everything like that. Like it's untouchable to me. The boyfriend strapped to the chair she can't do anything about. Like the steam coming off the pool. Like it's epic. Like it's epic.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and I won't challenge any of that. I just happen to like Scream Six's intro so much. It is everything that I wanted in a Scream intro. The Scream Six opening is perfect for a sequel, and it's what you and I talked about as one of the potential openings that we would like to see. Getting that kind of classic, getting a big name to come in and then kill him off, even though you tossed him on the poster. Of course, that was an homage to Scream One, so cool, well done. Then the unmasking, the oh, we're doing this to finish the movie. We're we got a little shrine, we got a little apartment. We know who we're directly friends with the victims from the last film, the survivors. So it's going to make this so much easier. And instead of just folding that that's your story, you killed them. You didn't kill the people from the last movie. You killed the killers. with another killer. It sucks the direction goes because that was so well, it was executed brilliantly. From the gore, the violence, the hot and cold, using Jason Takes Manhattan in the background, the shrine, the difference in the characterization of the killers and the motives. Like these two, the pair, Flash and whoever the other one
Bridge Boy.
was. Yeah. Their motivation to be finishing the film, and then after he stabbed somebody, they weren't human anymore. They were. That is like you were saying before, the characterization of a killer I would like to see in a Scream film instead of the over the top dramatized killer that's in every single Scream film.
Screaming to the rooftops, me friend. Like, oh my God, yes. Finally, something that what felt, yeah, it felt right, felt different, felt in line with like a real psychopath, not just like a Looney Tune Scooby Doo thing. Like, oh,
Man,
so good.
if you're going to kill that character, you need to have somebody more harsh than them, and that payoff did not happen. We'll
No,
get there. But that open is my favorite Scream opening. I can't wait to own it and rewatch that over and over again because that was awesome. Yeah, is it the best one? Absolutely not. The first one is, but it is my favorite.
it's crazy. You're crazy. All right, so let's go third acts. What least to best? It's your least favorite third act.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's easy. We'll start with Scream 6 as the worst third act in the franchise, and you cannot change my mind. Just the utter disrespect that was to the rest of the movie with this third act. It's unbelievable. Absolutely. I mean, like you saw it coming
Spoilers, people.
and you hoped you were wrong. Like, because sometimes in the Scream movies, like you see it coming, you see it coming, and you're wrong. Which I was really, but I called it. I called the detective. I called the foreshadowing about the brother. I called that it was definitely going to be the guy and the girl. Like I knew it. The only cool thing that happened was the violence in the third act. I mean, a brick to the mouth and the teeth went flying. And then the scene with two Ghostface doing the stabbing and the wipe at the same time. That was it. Everything else was complete trash. The fight was garbage and unrealistic. I'm sorry, you have a gun, sir. Use
You saw me like when that scene happened, my eyes rolled so hard, my neck turned, and I was like, really, really, he's got a gun, and like what's happening?
just watched his other two kids get brutally murdered. Also, the whole family. No,
Right.
with the characters that I just talked about in the opening sequence, that's a better movie. Like that's 10 times the movie that this is. You give me the disgruntled cop because of his son, and what a waste. They had everything they needed to do the cult ghost face online Riddler cult thing, or to bring back Stu, and they just flushed it down the toilet with generic 1, generic 2, and generic 3.
Man, you know what would have been sweet though is like to like if you can't really sell it and like they're just gonna be another bunch of no name people that's just a cult. Like I said, like had like again, guys, spoil like large spoilers obviously, but like if Richie would have been a part of this cult but broke off because he didn't believe in what they were doing or how they were going about it or something, like somewhere, like you know what I'm saying, like you could split him off and he was going to go start his own cult, and that was a so he was a piece of the bigger picture. I think that would have worked out really well. And then like, but can you imagine, dude, like you didn't have Sydney in this movie, all of this was a cover up and stuff, whatnot, like so you have all your main characters in the middle of this climax of the middle of this shrine, right? And like you see one ghost face, and then like they're like ready to attack, and then all of a sudden you see like go like 8 Ghostface, like just come out around the whole theater and just kill them all and end the movie that way. And then like you have Sydney pick up the phone and like the original cast ends the trilogy. Like, can you imagine if you would have killed off the entire cast in this movie, other than then left it open for Sydney and Gale?
That's another thing. Nobody important died.
Right.
That doesn't happen in a Scream movie. That's and
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's everybody that was important took a fatal blow and somehow, some way survived it. Even one of the characters took a bunch of fatal blows and then was running at the end. Like, bruh, what? You
I
were on the
know.
floor 5 minutes ago.
I mean, to be
I don't
fair, Scream 4 didn't kill anybody vital either, especially with Kirby coming back.
Scream 4, though, felt like I don't know the right way to say this. Scream 4 is a good Scream film, but it feels more disconnected from the franchise than any of the other movies, if that makes sense. Like
No, I'd
it,
say 3 feels the most disconnected from that first 4, but I mean,
it feels Scream 3 I think it's that disconnected is it keeps kind of it keeps Sydney's story intact. He is the main focus, whereas with Scream 4 is when you start to see that kind of tilt. It's still the original, but the focus is shifting toward high school kids. It's kind of moving in that direction. And
right.
and then Scream 5 is like, okay, we'll do a solid both. Scream 6 is we're kind of gonna work on that, and I'm sure Scream 7 is gonna just ruin how much I liked Scream 6 first 3/4 of the film.
Yeah, Scream 6 is going to be one of those things where you get to the third act and just turn it off. You're just like, meh.
What's funny is I can't wait to own it because I hope to watch it for Halloween, but I know the moment I'm turning it off. And that's another thing. Kirby was unbelievably wasted.
Wasted. Absolutely wasted. Biggest waste in the entire franchise. Like, and such a lazy thing too. Like, let's make her a cop. Okay. And then let's give her nothing important to do. Let's make her a possible killer.
We're gonna red herring her like crazy to give away what everybody in the theater already knows that it's not her. They know it's him. Like
Right. Well, that's the frustrating part where it's like certain things were done for the audience sake alone. Like when the sister gets stabbed in the tunnel and like she gets out and like he's screaming for help. I don't think he would be selling it that much. I think he would like still slit you know what I'm saying? Like there's that and then there's Kirby. Like she gets knocked out. Why would she get knocked out? These people are there to kill everybody there, unless you know what I mean. Like leaving Kirby alive doesn't make sense. Like anyway, so my least favorite is actually Scream 5. And it mostly boils down to the fact that I feel like Sydney and Gale are a complete afterthought. They're completely wasted. Killers are stupid and lame, and I hate like here's your torch, and they light her on fire and shoot her in the head. Like it just another man, another movie where that third act is just terrible. Like Richie goes super comic book villain, and so does she. Like, I don't believe that she killed Dewey at 5 foot, 100 pound, nothing. I don't believe that he was able to do all this stuff, and like I don't know. Like it's just the flashbacks with Billy land better in 6 than they do, or not flashbacks, but the hallucinations of Billy land better in 6 than they do in 5. Like the 5 was like, look what we can do. Look, remember? Do you remember this guy? Oh my God. 6 was like, okay, let's use him a little sparingly. She's back on her meds. I don't
it
know.
was
They're both horrible.
to keep up with in 6. But I have to agree to the point that is my next, and I agree. Everybody was wasted. Stu's house was wasted. Like why? Why? It just oh well, we're taking it. No, you're not. You're grabbing at nostalgia in a tasteless way that of course is going to put butts in seats and people are gonna talk about how great it was to see the nostalgia until they watch it a couple times and they go really just shoving it in our face to hope that we wouldn't notice all the things that were missing that could have made the movie better. It's funny to see how fast Scream 5 has fallen amongst fans that were praising it. I
Right.
mean,
And I told you earlier, I was like, I'm starting to get really annoyed by YouTube people that I watch that are just like, oh my God, the best thing ever. Cause I've been talking about it for 8 months. Oh, actually, the new one came out and now it kind of it's like, guys, like, I understand you got to play the game. I understand that for some of y'all, this is actually a job. Like, I understand, but like, I just don't change my opinion that often. Like, the only time I can really remember changing my opinion on something is Rob Zombie's Halloween. And even that movie, I still like. I just thought it was like God tier when I first watched it. When I first watched it, I thought it was God tier. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot of movies where I was like, I thought that movie was trash and now it's awesome, or I thought that movie was awesome and now I think it's trash. Like, I just maybe I get a vibe and a feeling in the flow of the movie, the acting, yada yada. Like it usually when I see it, I get that same vibe every time I watch the movie, unless there's like some hidden gem. Like by the time I'd seen Nightmare 2, I'd already kind of known about the deeper stuff going on in it, and that made the movie better for me. Maybe I would have had a different opinion on the movie had I not known that. I think that could play a factor, but like just as far as like I watched it, didn't like it, watched it, love it. I just come on, guys. Like it looks really fake and lazy to me, or like you just don't. I don't know. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but it's just kind of frustrating.
yeah, no, Scream 5 is no.
Terrible,
Yeah.
terrible. All right. Well, yeah, my next one is Scream 4. You know, it switched up the final act a little bit. Like even in the movie, they'd say that the third act is the big party, and then he's like, and then they talk about, well, in this movie, they're switching it up where like the after party is now the new third act. Like they kind of play with it. It's kind of fun. Like you got all the main character, well, most of the main characters, the new main characters in that. Um, I don't know. Sydney again feels like an afterthought there, but I like Rory Culkin in the role. I don't quite buy it, but I like his performance. I like
I
I like his buddy also. Yeah, I mean, and then the final like the Fight Club thing at the end with Jill is interesting and different. The hospital stuff is a little drawn out. It goes kind of nowhere. Again, it's a movie that had a great idea that couldn't quite commit to it. But Kirby gets a minute to shine. You know what I mean? Throwback to the first movie with being tied up. Like it's got a lot of good things to it. It just can't quite get there when it comes to like a really good climax.
yeah. No, man, we're gonna do this all night, apparently. Because Scream 4 is my next, and pretty much everything you said, except somehow to me, its third act is still better than 5 and 6. And it just, I mean,
Because it doesn't do anything super stupid.
yeah, it does a by the numbers, except it's just a little. The hospital scene and on is too much. Like, you could have cut it earlier. Like, we didn't need the return at the end.
Right. It almost would have been a better opening to another movie. Like let the movie end with Jill coming out and just let the movie end there and then let the next one pick up in the hospital and you just start off with that big realization and you know Sydney lives and Jill's just gone and then she goes off to we get a ghost face that's on the run. I don't know. It just goes so damn long. Like it's just third acts they just don't normally go that long. Um
It never ends.
Yeah, so my next one is going to be Scream 3. Um you know, you get Gail and Dewey going into the house, there's the party, they're going to go check out the mansion, you got the hidden rooms which is really cool. You talk about some of the scumminess of Hollywood that like was in everybody's face but all of a sudden like, everybody was okay with it and then like moving forward the movie's almost ahead of its time because it was showing you about the joke that is Hollywood and the producer that was making the movie. Um, what a scumbag. But and it has like the Parker Posey thing with like the gunfire and like she gets killed and the wardrobe hidden room thing is cool. You got Dewey and Gale that get tied up in the chair. That throwing knife scene where like he throws the knife and it hits Dewey in the head and then he goes down the steps. Just the way that shot, it's really cool. You think maybe, damn, Dewey's going down this way, and then you got Sydney coming in there with dual guns, and you got her with a vest on. She throws one gun in the pool, and she's like, "It's your turn to scream now." And like she's chasing him, she shoots him. He's going down the hallway to that chase scene, that final act where like it's the large reveal in the projector room, like, and it's like you know uh, uh, her own son, and he takes off the mask, kind of a thing, and like he goes a little maniacal there at the very end when he's like reaching the end of his monologue, but not too horrible. You know what I mean? And she's like, "Shut up and get on with it. I've heard this before." Like she's finally embraced like, "I'm coming for you. I'm not scared anymore. I'm coming for you." And at the end of the movie, it shows you with like the door being unlocked and kind of opens up a little bit that she's down for whatever happens. Like she just won't live her life in fear anymore. I think it's a solid third act. I don't like that it goes back and kind of rewrites history, but other than that, I think it's a solid third act.
Yeah, I have to agree. Three is actually my next. It just, I think, I mean, we know what the original script was going to be, um, and why it was changed. Um, can't just put out a movie about the murders in the schools with Columbine happening and with all, we get it. Okay, that makes sense. So, quick, got to get a rewrite done, got to have people come up with something. And since when Scream 1 all have that family factor, I get why they did what they did, but kind of rewriting the past of Scream 1 and 2 feels a little bit lazy. Um, and I'm not saying I could have done better, so don't mistake that either.
Right.
Um, I'm just saying that it's a little weak.
Yeah, but again, I've said in the past that it fits the DNA of Scream. Everything pops off because of Sydney's mom. Like it's not her mom's fault. Like people lost their minds along the way, but like it revolves around her murder and what happened, and it gives people a motive that regardless or not if it's actually like it's not her fault. It just gives them a motive, right? So this is the same thing. Like she got around, she went to Hollywood. Maybe Hollywood is the thing that super messed her up. They talk about that. Like that's the trauma that set her life into a certain direction that would lead to that. Like she got messed up and had a child while in Hollywood. Like it adds more backstory that I think flows fairly well with that first movie. Again, the second movie plays on it a little bit too. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's what really lets the third movie go for me. Is like I can make it work because it goes with the DNA of the movie, the first movie.
No, I agree. And for some reason, the single killer and reveal as to who he is don't like you said, they don't do any harm to the movie before it. Just a less of a blow. Like I would have, and I think unfortunately that's what happens when you drag out something that shouldn't be dragged out. Let's face it, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, Saw, Halloween, all of them. At some point, that formula starts to just get a little tired. So then they try something new, whether on purpose or not, and it either doesn't. And with Scream, it's hard to introduce a new concept because it's so built on the DNA of Sydney and her mother, which is why Scream 5 and Scream 6 don't work, in my opinion. And again, this is coming from somebody who really liked the first three quarters of Scream 6. They don't. They don't.
And they had to start off Scream 5 by again going back with like some DNA, literally DNA of being Billy's daughter, and it's a random out of nowhere plot point. It's a plot device that I hate. It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't. It feels like you wrote it for the character. It doesn't feel organic at all.
Excuse me, man. These early mornings and late nights are getting to me.
No, you're good. I'm hear you there. Let's see. My next one. God dang it! I keep losing my list. Oh, where are we at here? It's right in front of me. Let's see. So yeah, my next one, Scream 2, phenomenal third act. Again, spoilers. Love Mickey. Love Mrs. Loomis. She goes out of her mind, but at this point, the first time with a parent, you kind of buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of has that like psycho vibes a little bit. You know what I mean? Like just the I don't know, like it's got like the Pamela vibes too. That it just kind of adds to the meta, to the just kind of what it leans into, what it borrows from. Like I wish that Mickey would have had more of a presence in the third act. Like I just wish he wouldn't have gotten blown away so fast.
Yeah.
But and I yeah I Gail, like it gets really wearing out that she gets hurt before the third act and is worthless. Is never a big deal in the third act except for that first movie. Really, like it kind of gets frustrating. I love the very end with Cotton where you don't know if he's psychotic or if he's a good guy or if he's leaning into it or if he really is. Like definitely could have been a killer that I would have believed. He had a good motive. He actually had a better motive than probably the other two, maybe a little bit more believable. And then that scene, if you count the third act as starting with the taxi scene, like with them having to crawl over the taxi scene and things like that, that's a great third act, man. Like the boyfriend comes down and like gets shot and dies, and like he's like, I never would have hurt you. Is like, whew, like her one chance to like find a good dude kind of a thing. Like and like she kind of betrayed him, and like but he went down the hero like this coming off of kind of the heels of him singing in the cafeteria. Then you got not only that, but like you have Sydney in the background, like waving the storm stuff and like cutting down things and screaming, losing her mind. And you forgot one thing about Billy Loomis. What's that? I fucking killed him. Like I don't know. Like third act, it's a great third act, man. And I don't even want to say like get the Gale thing where like she's running around the soundproof stuff or whatever, the walls and things, and like she gets caught back there, and poor Dewey stepping on an old pizza and gets stabbed in the back. Like, what a great third act.
No, I have to agree. And honestly, again, same. It's my next pick. So what is that? That's second place for me. So yeah, it's a great third act. Like you can't for a second film, you want to be able to top the first. And in many cases, people will say two tops one. I'm not one of those people, obviously. But I do think it is a very, very, very deserving sequel and a very, very deserving end to the sequel. I do like the light tie with Billy Loomis's mother. I do like the tie with uh, just keeping the kids together and then going to that new place with the setting of college and getting, it felt authentic to the first film. It felt like the logical next step. Scream 3 kind of missed that in my opinion, and I know I'm jumping into bigger thoughts here, but with Scream 2, that helped pay off to the ending. I love the usage of the theater as the final act. It's just so great. It's so well done. You can't ask for a better ending to that movie. The killer reveals don't hurt it. They're not a huge deal. I do remember the first time I saw it, I was totally thinking it was going to be Cotton. Like it was totally how the movie looked like it was going to go, But no, and I appreciate that. Every time I see that movie, that's my first thought is, I remember thinking it's going to be Cotton.
Yeah, I do think the weakest point of probably the third act is probably the fact that like Dewey and Gale are on campus in very close proximity to where Sydney runs. I can't remember. I think she just I can't remember why she runs to the school, like to that the play area. I'm not really sure. Those two that connection, like I need to really like it's always kind of bugged me. I need to like zone in on that the next time I watch it just to see if they're like you know, he might be on this tape, so they're watching the movie, like they're watching the, you know, like I don't know. I'll have to rewatch it just to see if that connection flows a little bit, but whatever.
Yeah, I have to say, it's well done. I think my only problem with Scream 2 is that we killed what's his name too soon, Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah,
I really think that he could have gone on to be a really good staple in the franchise had they not done that. And they knew they messed up, and then tried the weakest cameo ever in Scream 3.
yeah. I mean it. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bother me too much. It does make sense that Randy would do something like that. It almost would have made sense he would have made more, just as kind of almost a joke.
Yeah, it's it's meh, meh.
Yeah, I think it would have been way better suited to kill him off in the third act, but yeah. Yeah, or in the third movie, but yeah. So I mean that leaves number one, and of course it's the best. Just like the opening, unfortunately Caleb's on off his meds on that one, but yeah, the third act of the first movie is it's and it's a long one too. Like it really it lasts, but it feels like it's building towards the big reveal. It feels like people are going down, like the cameraman and all that. Like you start off, everybody's there. Like, how are you gonna have this third act with everybody there? They empty it because the principal's hung up on the goalpost. Like the garage scene is iconic, even though the garage door opener is stupid. Like her going through the doggy door and getting stuck and her head crushed. That's kind of dumb. But
Yeah,
other than that, like that reveal, dude, and then like uh Billy gets fake stabbed, right? And then he's like, corn syrup thing, same thing they used in Carrie for pig's blood, like, Anthony Perkins, Psycho, and he just commits to that so well. And then Stu comes out of nowhere as like, surprise, Sydney, and like, no Sharon Stone, you hit me with the phone. Like that's a character that actually was when it was written, they didn't have a whole lot of lines for. And when Matthew Lillard was brought on, he added to that character. So without Matthew Lillard, that movie, that third act would not be as good as it is. Like I
yeah,
always had a thing for you, Sid, in your dreams. Boom with the TV. Like, oh
yeah. No, Matthew Lillard made Scream what it is. His presence in that final act makes that movie so much better. Take him out of that final act, it's a generic cat and mouse horror movie ending. But his dialogue, his they're gonna be so mad at me. Like, dude,
pure
perfect.
pressure. I'm far too sensitive.
Yeah. Like, hit me with phone, dick. Like,
He's so good, dude. I with the third act, like the watching it. I mean, all the time, but like just the when like Sydney gets away, like she falls off the roof or whatever, and then she starts running around. She's like screaming, and you hear that echo of like there's nothing out there, and you see her like breaking through the fence and like going around the barn trying to find somewhere to go or hide. Like, you start to see her like the car scene with that cat and mouse where she's like locking it as it moves, and the hatch slowly rises, and you see how fast Stu is, kind of a thing. Like, I do kind of wish we would have had just a moment of Sydney running into the woods and having some Friday the 13th kind of vibes where she's all alone and like you see Ghostface come out of nowhere and cut her off from being able to run, so she runs back to the house. Kind of a thing. I do wish we had a little bit of that, but like it's Dewey goes in there and comes out and like he's stabbed in the back and you're just like, again, she's all alone. Gail's there, but like the blood coming down on the window, she turns the wipers on and goes whoop whoop, and the cameraman comes flying or comes down that, like goes flying off the van and smokes the gate or the fence. Like,
I remember the first time I saw it. Like, okay, the first has some of the best things ever in horror movie, but that scene with the wipers and he comes down, I remember watching that going, just
yeah,
like, so cool.
yeah, that
So
first movie, like I feel like there's a lot of things that we take for granted that like how good it is, but like it's so good. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like it's just so good that it's almost generic now. Like when you actually stop and look at all the effort and whatnot that was put into that, damn, so good. Again, Jamie Kennedy, I was a little wasted in that very third act. Like he kind of disappears for a red herring for a minute, and then he comes back. Then he gets shot, and he's out for the count. Like he gets hit with the phone too, like from Gail, because he rolls up in the window and she smokes him in the head with that giant brick phone.
Dude, I don't know. I think he was used all right. I like him. I love the scene of Halloween and him sitting on the couch alone, and it's just, oh, there's a 10-second delay. Like that just, it was
Right.
perfect for that character to be the one doing that. Like any other character, I think it would have been wasted on, but his character, again,
Well, that's the thing. Like with like diminishing returns of tension. Like the second movie had good tension, like I said, with the Gale upstairs in the record spot, and it had with the taxi and things like that. Like it had good tension. The third movie had some aspects to tension with the hidden rooms and things like that, but like kind of weak. The
yeah,
fourth movie, well, they lose power too. That's kind of cool in the third movie, but like the fourth movie, very limited tension. Most of the tension is like Herbie in the room when she's spouting off remakes, right? Like fifth movie, no tension. Like there's a skosh when they're in the basement, really, but other than that, like the hospital's got some tension, but it's I think it's kind of dumb. And then the sixth movie, zero tension in that third act. Like there's tension in the train scene. There's tension in the gas station, but the third act has very little to no tension.
yeah. No, I absolutely agree. You can't top the first one.
Yeah.
Which I guess you can already tell what we're gonna pick when we order the whole movies.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna fly through this. Just I mean, you just go for it.
You want to just do all of them in
Yeah,
order?
just blast through them. Because we basically said why we don't like each movie and why we do like it. Because we did the opening and the middle is not going to change. Like I mean, I feel like you could probably easily decipher where we're at with everything.
So it's kind of funny because I feel like this list is, in most cases, it goes in the order they came out, right? Like it goes backwards. Like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is, I see it a lot, like in groups and stuff. But mine's a little bit more wonky. Starting with at the bottom, number 5, it should not exist. It shouldn't have. Then we go to number 4, a good attempt at bringing the idea of a sequel instead of a reboot at a time where everything was a reboot, nothing was a sequel to its original source material other than Resident Evil, which was a joke. I don't care who says what after the third movie. It is a joke. Um, and maybe Underworld, but that lost its horror value second movie. Um,
We got
then
back to the prequel. We got back there with the prequel.
barely. It
I
was
would,
it couple suspenseful scenes, but nothing that brought on the overall gothic horror of the first movie, in my opinion.
yeah,
Like
it's
that
it.
that lot that died after that movie.
I don't know, man. Like it's a different kind of gothic. Like it's like old school gothic in the prequel. I'm sorry. I know I'm derailing this. I'm sorry, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. Anyway, I'll move on.
Uh and then right before that is going to be Scream 3 for me. I think it's a good solid entry. I see a lot of people hate it. I get some of their arguments. I do like to knock it every now and again. I mean, a Jay and Silent Bob cameo, are you kidding me? Um, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt anything. It's not a great movie. And again, working under a time constraint to get a new script out because of a tragedy that happened in real life, I kind of get it. And that puts a lot of pressure on everybody involved, from the cast, the crew, the writers, the studio. Like they had approved a script, they were gonna start filming, and then tragedy happens in real life, and everybody's like, "Pump the brakes, we need a whole new write up. We can't release this." I get it, got it. Um, Next one is Scream 6 in the slot for number 3. And what sucks is this movie is so good until it's not. Like, it's so can't explain. There's so few that do this well and crash that hard. Like, you can sit through a movie and be like, "This is long and the 3rd act is taking forever." You can sit through a movie and be like, the 3rd act didn't really play out with the rest of the movie." But this was like peak, 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 and completely crashed through the floor. Like, it just there's not words for how bad that ending is, but everything else before it, I enjoyed. I had a lot of fun.
We were so devastated leaving that. We're just like, oh my god, you were on a trajectory to be legendary with the franchise. You actually were earning your spot in this franchise, earning it, and you failed.
Flushed it right down the toilet.
Oh,
Um, that number 2 spot is gonna be Scream 2. Arguably, yes, it could be in a number 1 spot for quite a few people. I'm not one of them. I do enjoy it. It is a very good sequel. It is deserving of all the praise it gets, and if you hate this one or dislike it, you're wrong. Is and followed by the GOAT, which is, of course, Scream. You can't top the first original Scream. Not Scream 5, the original Scream. That just brilliant from start to finish.
yep, yep, yeah. So my least favorite is going to be Scream 5. It's just terrible. Like we talked about, like the again, the 3rd act. Sydney in there, she's shoehorned in there. Gale is shoehorned in there, like not as bad as Sydney, but really bad. Like same thing with the previous movies. Gale's gone pretty much. She's she's wounded and like taken out of the big picture instantly in the 3rd act. Just terrible dialogue. I really hated Amber and the on flame, the here's the torch. Like, I didn't buy her at all just because she moved into this house. She lost her mind. Like, I come on, guys. Like, the dialogue's so annoying. The again, the hallucinations of Billy's annoying. Like, I just didn't buy it. I like Richie. Like, he is probably the most entertaining character in the entire movie, but he
Mhm.
just doesn't land. And like him actually becoming the killer actually makes it worse. Like you took my favorite character and you made him the killer. And like, and he just became another like killer again. Like, guys, it's like watching Jack Nicholson play the Joker, and then you have the Riddler that's the Joker, and then you have Tommy Lee Jones that's the Joker. I was like, it's just too much. It's too much. I just don't like 5. Sydney's wasted. She doesn't feel like she feels like she was written in there to put butts in the seats because they had to have her in the movie. Like that's why they didn't want her to come back for the next movie. They didn't want her in the first movie, I don't think, other than money. I don't know. Just God, Scream 5 just doesn't land at all for me. Like, and that it and then you killed Dewey. I'm not gonna lie. That's the like my favorite character in the franchise, and you gave him a crap death. Like you gave him a cool, like, down on his luck. Maybe God dang it. Gale should have died. So my next one is Scream 6. Um like we said, like it was earning its place. It was really doing different things. It was making it fun again. It was making me like the characters. I think this the niece, like her character feels a little forced, like that's her gimmick. You know what I'm saying? Like she feels like a gimmicky character that just has to focus on her gimmick instead of actually having things to do and say a little bit. It's just I feel bad because I like the actress. I think she does a great job. It's kind of frustrating, but you gave us a ghost face that was scary, and like it did feel like something was a little bit more at stake. Like there was a grandiose like thing gonna happen, and it doesn't at all. Like, oh god, the performance of that 3rd act is trash. The only reason, like, yeah, the only reason I put it above 5 is again it 5 is trash, but 6, at least that final act has some, like you said, cool violence. You gotta let me go moment. You know what I mean? the area, the setting was cool. Like it has a couple redeeming, but like the villains just crashed that movie.
No.
And then from there on, it goes 4, 3, 2, 1. I know a lot of people dog on 4, but I think that it's got the best. Get the characters together for a reason. The killer is waiting for Sydney to come into town. The first kill is the body's put in Sydney's car to make her a suspect. She can't leave. There's a good reason why the new characters we're following are connected to. Sydney's there. Other characters are there organically, and it makes sense. Like it flows very well for what it is, even though it does feel disjointed. It, and it doesn't do any harm really. Like you see, you get Dewey and Gail struggling as they kind of just they always were, but like they're married now, so they get their happy ending. You get Sydney again is like risen above this, out of darkness, writing her book, like she's living with it, and she is now a very strong, no nonsense final girl. Like there's a lot of redeemable things in 4 that just helps the characters. I don't, it doesn't. There's nothing done in this that really hurts the characters. I think it just adds to my love for that original cast. 3 does is very similar, where again, like I was talking about, it adds to the DNA of the first movie. It gives you a little bit more backstory that is some good, some bad. It also gives more time for Dewey and Gail and go and explore that relationship, and then kind of make a happy ending for that and Sydney, like I talked about earlier, where she's finally not going to be afraid, and that goes into that 4th movie. And then two has that great. It has a solid opening. It has a solid ending. It's got a great killer. You got Jamie Kennedy in there is helping bump up this movie. It's got a fun college vibe to it. It's a great movie. And then you got number 1. It's got the best opening horror of all time. Like it's got a great ending. Um, up until 6 actually bumped up in front of 5, but before that it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like it's like it always felt like diminishing returns. I was getting super frustrated. So I do put 6 above 5, but god dang, does that third act really want it to go below 5?
And it sucks because like how much I love that first section of Scream 6. It could have, if the payoff would have been worth it, it could have been my number 2 slot. Like it was so close. Actually started to make me for the characters in my least favorite movie in the franchise. Like sweet, do this. And it had
Right.
some of the coolest kills in the franchise. It had some of the most tense shots in the franchise. It had so much going for it. It had the legacy masks, and then what it do? It gave you that trash ending.
Oh, yeah, I can't believe you're pulling up all this old nostalgia, and you are really selling like the hype, the ending, the reveal. Oh, you've never seen one like me. Then you get 2 Ghostface, you're like, oh yeah, and then you get 3, you're like, whoa, and then it's like, me, and like we said, we were like the whole family though, the whole family, not just the dad, not just the brother, not just the sister, both brothers, sister, and the dad. Like, where's mom? Like,
Rumor has it there's going to be an extended clip that shows that the younger son killed the mom, I guess, or something like that. Because
right again, and if
it's
you would have
just
had like
really
right, if you'd have had like 7 or 8 ghost faces that come out of nowhere, and like these ghost faces, like I would believe them pulling their resources to be able to have this space and buy all this stuff, rather than the cop does. Like obviously it's the cop because it makes sense that they'd be able to get this crap. Like, and it's just like you would really go this. It almost felt like Dahmer a little bit, like where the dad was like taking him and like messing with roadkill and like examining roadkill and stuff like that. It almost felt like, would you really do this for your son? Like, how messed up are you? And then you're a cop that you would buy all this stuff for your son, and like a real murder weapon, like with the blood still on it.
and
Like,
as soon as I saw that in the trailer, I knew it was either going to be Stu's because he have the resources based on the money, or it was going to be the cop that they were introducing. The trailer gave me that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it's the cop they were introducing, which about, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes into the movie, you could figure it out. Like,
Right. And the dumbest thing too is like the daughter's killed and like they're like, oh, you'd be surprised what a grieving father with some prosthetics can get away with. I'm like, really? Really? Like the coroner, like this is a big deal. Like, dude's daughter died. Like I mean, I guess I could buy it a little bit that they'd stay away from his daughter without his permission until he's ready, maybe, but like the plot's over. Like, you have to produce a body. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you what I don't know, you're fully committed. It is just dumb. And again, Kirby leaving her alive, being lazy and useless with her character. It's like they don't know what to do with legacy characters they bring in because they just don't know how to use them. Like Dewey's perfect. He you would go to him like he's an ex-cop. He's been through this. That makes sense. It's a very good vibe. Like, Gail is a reporter still. It makes sense that she would try to wiggle her way back into the new group. That makes sense. But like Sydney, like if she's not being directly targeted, I wouldn't think that she would come back. Like she's not Batman. This isn't like her fight every time for every some psycho puts on the mask. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't know how to sell it all the way, I think. Like it would have been better. I feel like these guys have a better idea of like if they would have just rebooted the thing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I feel like they got shoehorned into having to do sequels. It kind of feels like, I don't know.
yeah. No, it's disappointing, and I'm I don't know. I have two minds about it. Scream 7 definitely being greenlit. Like, I don't know. Part of me is like, can they keep going in a direction that makes me like more of the movie? Or is this going to be a little Scream 5 situation where I'm like, why am I sitting through this? This is a monstrosity that shouldn't be. And I'm hopeful that maybe it means I get another movie like Scream 6. If I can get Scream 6 or better, I'll be happy.
Again, I'm kind of hoping that like they figure out a way to spin it that it's see because the thing that sucks is they put all of it on Richie. Like that he was the Scream fan, right? The Stab fan, right? Like so it all teeters on him and then the rage of that. Like had the dad been the diehard and Richie would have also been the diehard that went too far. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it just it's frustrating because it's like if you would have built this cult and like I said, Richie would have broken off, or like they all were already on board to kill, like kind of a thing, but he jumped the gun. Like there's ways I feel like that you could have really worked the cult angle, like he's not actually a DNA son of his. He's an adopted kid, or he's adopted into the cult kind of a thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Charlie, the kids, that kind of thing. Like I really feel like, and maybe there's a way you can kind of manipulate that for the new movie that'll help me sell it, because I think with just a little bit of molding, I would have bought that a lot more than that's my DNA son that was born. Here's my other DNA son, my DNA daughter. We all freaking lost our minds. Like
It's too
it's just a real stretch. Like I don't know, but so real fast, Caleb, let's go through this. The last ranking, I promise. Real fast, let's rank the Ghostface killers. This will probably be faster just because it's it doesn't have to do with the whole movie. Just your preference slash enjoyment, gravity of the situation. Go.
what's really funny for this is for me, they go in film order. Like, absolutely. So 6, Quinn, Ethan, and Wayne. Like it's useless. Shouldn't have happened. 5, Richie and Amber. Well, it's really hard to put Amber above them because I hate her with fiery. Because you knew from the moment she stepped foot on. Number 4, that Jill and Rory Culkin, that I can't remember his character's name off the top of my head. Um, that hurts. Um,
Uh,
3,
uh, no, no, Charlie, got it.
yes. Number 3 is going to be Roman. I again, it's doesn't hurt anything, but it doesn't help anything. I'm going to insert a bonus as a 2.5 to be the killer in the beginning of Scream 6, Flash Thompson. Thank you for your service. That was a better every yep. Then number 2, Mickey and Miss Loomis, like what a duo. Like come on, man. That's a solid duo. You got the brains and you got the brawn, and they totally pinky in the brained that whole movie. And I mean that in the most respectful manner. Um, it's just brilliant. And of course, number 1 gonna be Billy and Stu because it was quick. It was an easy motive. It was playing all the horror tropes. It was well done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. God damn, you really went boom, boom, boom. That's awesome. Yeah, my least favorite out of 14 of these bad boys is Fridge Boy. Way to go, buddy. Then you got the Flash. I put him down here just because he didn't get a whole lot of time to shine, but I do respect and appreciate the little bit we got. Like it just like we talked about, like we talked about for like 15 minutes about just how fresh it felt for this franchise. And then we've got Quinn, the daughter, again. Like really, she's dead, and then like we bring her back to life. The dumbest thing ever. Like so freaking dumb. Like the other one, like with Roman, where he dies. At least I can use the excuse of like that was a prop. Like he was a prop guy in a horror movie. It kind of makes sense. Like he could have been a character in that movie that prop existed for him to be killed. You know what I mean? Like a quick cameo where he gets killed. So I'll buy that. But anyway, then it's Ethan, the son. He's got a creepy vibe to him, you know, like in the subway, a little bit, like you feel a little bit of creepy. And then when he goes full on, there's a little bit, not too much. And then there's the dad. Now I put the dad just a little bit ahead, and it's bad because like all of them suck. They all suck. But I only put the dad ahead just because I like the actor, even though I don't think he did a very good job acting in the movie. I don't like the reveal is terrible, but like at least he's a big dude. He's a cop. Like it fits the Ghostface's ability. Little bit. He's a little older, but like it fits the Ghostface ability to know the situations, know the call stuff, know the detective side of things. Like make it kind of work. It works enough. I put him ahead.
Okay.
And then my next one would be Amber. God dang, is she annoying and a waste of time. Like it just feels like a secondary killer for the sake of a secondary killer because it just makes the movie easier to do 2 killers because you never really know. You might be able to see all of them out on screen while Ghostface is there, kind of a thing. Yeah. Then I'm gonna go Jill. Jill, I just don't really buy her as a mastermind. Again, it works. It goes back to the DNA of the family. She is her mom's the sister of Maureen. Like she wants Sydney's fame. She's in that family. La 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 la. She grew up with it. She's in Woodsboro. I'll buy that to a degree, but like that killer just doesn't do a whole lot for me. And the third act is kind of dumb what she does, but or the very end of the third act. I'm gonna go Charlie. I like that actor. I thought he did a great job. I enjoyed his performance throughout the entire movie. And then when he goes nuts, he doesn't go all the way nuts. Like he looks love obsessed and obsessed with movies to where he would go there. And I like him. I just think he's a solid killer.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Richie after that. Now I complain a lot about 5, but I did say that I think that Richie is one of the most likable, charismatic characters in that movie. I think he's kind of like, I don't like how he goes full maniacal, but I still believe him as an obsessed killer that fits the actual height and build of the Ghostface that we were led to believe was in that movie doing those things. Like he just, I don't know, it works. Yeah. Anyway. So the next one, my number 5 is Miss Loomis. I think she's great. I think that reveal's awesome. Again, it just kind of vibes with that flow of motherhood, moms, like Sydney's mom, la la la. Yeah, and that very end again with her with the knife and then like the cotton thing. She sent you to prison for a year. Personally, I think it's rather poetic, don't you? Anyway, so then we've got Mickey that he's got the knife up against his head and he's like, well, tuition's expensive. Deb there, my backer. Like I just he's having fun with it. And he's like, Mickey is a sick person that wants to get caught. Yeah, it's all about the trial. And it really works for that time in the 90s when he was talking like OJ and stuff like that. So really like Mickey. God dang, for like the 2.5 minutes he gets, he's very thematic. Like he's very like he's got that like overacting vibe to it. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like he's really loving this, like creating his own movie kind of vibe. I don't know. Freaking love Mickey. I put Roman just above Mickey. You know, again, it's one of those like if you buy into it, he's a big time killer. Like he started everything. He does it all by himself. The brother, the DNA again, like it wraps up that trilogy. And he's the first one to use a bulletproof vest. And at the end, he's getting shot like 16 times. And she's like, head, Dewey, head. Like, I don't know. It's spices it up. He gets shot like three different times in the movie, right? Kind of because we were talking about the flashback where Randy's talking about he might be superhuman, he might have to cut his head off or blow him up. So it added stakes to that movie, and it did feel a little superhuman a little bit. Um, Stu is number two. You know, I wouldn't take anything away from anybody that said Stu is number one. He just isn't the brains in that first movie. I do think he sells that performance the best. I think he steals the show. But Billy is the killer in that movie. He is doing the most of the killing. He is the brains of the movie. Like he is willing to get caught to then have Stu call and like pretend and be the killer to get him out, manipulating the sheriff like as almost like a can't touch this. You know what I mean? Like he's putting himself in there. He's like, you can't. I'm better and smarter than you. You can't touch this. Like that final act's phenomenal. Like I don't know. Like Billy, I think has to be number one. And the level that isn't really touched on very much, the level of how mean Billy was, hanging Drew Barrymore from the tree with her intestines coming out, right?
Yeah.
Like he hangs the principal from the goalpost. Like he was horrible, mean, and brutal, like that we hadn't really seen up until a little bit of Scream 4. Like the posing of the bodies just wasn't done quite as much. So Billy had to take number one. So there is some give and take in that. Like on sometimes I'll watch a movie and hate it, but like the overall vibe and arc sometimes kind of pushes characters up and back for me, depending on But I just don't think those. It sucks. Is like 6 is kind of where it's at. Like it for me, like it's going to take a lot for me to sell that third act. You know what I mean? To buy in, to allow that. Like it's always going to put a bad taste in my mouth. It's ah.
Oh yeah, I hate that I both absolutely love and loathe that movie at the same time.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to think like there's a few movies that just fall on their face in the third act. Like Us. Us was a 10 out of 10 until the third act. I was like, God, this movie is epic. And then the third act happens and I'm like, well, that was generic. Like I'm like, God, like there's some movies that just suck when that third act doesn't land because you're just in love with everything and then it's just like, oh.
I think with Us, the rules of the tethering changing in the third act kind of unjustified unjustified the journey of the film itself. Like,
Right.
but it's still a good watch. Like with that one, I can defend that movie a whole lot more than Scream 6. Like,
Sure. Well, I think there should have been like a mad scientist that was like controlling them or something like that kind of a thing. Like try not to spoil this, like the Us thing, but I think there is like a couple more minutes that you could have spent on how things lasted and how things ended up. But anyway, so that's it. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we finally were able to get through this. I'm glad YouTube worked. I do want to show something off to you, Caleb. I don't know if you got time or if you're interested, but like, oh God, stuff's gonna land on me. Hang on.
Oh, yeah, the McFarlane.
Dude, this this is the Spin Master. Look at the size of this thing. I can't even fit it in frame. You should see the toast. I can't even get it through the door. Sorry, that's an Uncle Buck joke, but like, look at the size of this stupid thing. Like, it's, was it 30, 27 plus inches? I don't even know where I'm gonna put this, man. Like, I bought the Flying Fox. The Flying Fox is bigger than this thing. Like, I don't know where am I don't know, but I bought it because I have to have it because I'm sick in the head. But I just want to open this thing up and show it to you and see what you think. If I can even get it on camera, because I wanted to do an unboxing, but like if I don't do it like in the moment, like sometimes I just don't get around to things. Hang on. Help.
While you're doing that boxing, the Crow reboot has officially wrapped up
Huh.
soon.
Really? I kind of just lost faith in that movie ever happening. Like I was just like, man, this is not gonna ever happen.
Now it was, I think it was Central Blend that posted the article, so I don't 100% believe it because they're no. Who am I trying to think of now? But they're not always the most reliable source.
Yeah. All right. So, good God, this thing is freaking huge, dude. And that's what she said. But like, this is $40, man. Like, this is a sweet like display. Like, if you have limited space and you just want to like display something, like $40. Look at this thing, man. Like, I can't see if you can see it, but like,
That looks really good.
look at this thing. This is insane for $40, man. Like, so what? Like, I bought two of them because they actually were in stock on Target. But like, I thought about maybe if I could flip that other side, like if it's a mirror of itself, I could flip it over and like make this hollow go away. You know, you don't really have to. It looks fine without it. It's not gonna bother me. But like, I just thought, and then in the movie, so like this on this guy right here, it's clear, but in the movie, it stops being clear like right up here. So I'm just gonna like take this off and paint this back section right. The
Yeah.
the smaller Spin Masters that fit the 4-inch versions, it's a lot smaller and it has that painted. And I believe the bottoms are not hollow. I could be wrong on that, but the thing is like this guy right here, when you see the trailer and you see Supergirl or Superwoman, whatever, flying next to it, this is actually the size for like the 4-inch figures, which is what I'm collecting. And so I've got that box of all of them that I'll actually probably unbox and like do a side by side with this guy. But like, so I'm gonna put this. This is hollow because it actually fits a 12-inch figure. So I'm gonna put in the movie. You see the Flash sitting. There's two of them. They sit next to each other, I believe, and then Batman's in the front. So you can actually fit all the characters in here in the 4-inch scale. So it's to scale with the 4-inch figures. I'm so a kid in a candy store right now, man. I'm so excited for this stupid thing. Like buy your kid this, man. Like this is stupid value. And not only that, man, but like hold on. It's got wheels too, man. Like it's got landing gear.
You're gonna be so upset if the movie sucks.
Oh, I'm gonna be devastated. Like Halloween Ends put me in a depression for like 3 months. If the Flash sucks, don't talk to me for a year. Like put me on like a watch. Like call doctors. I need therapy sessions for real. Like I will be bummed. Yeah.
I also keep thinking about the McFarlane figures that are getting released. Oh, that has not Ben Affleck, and that is not Michael Keaton, and Ezra Miller, and that isn't like it. Just seemed like it happened with the Dark Knight trilogy line. Like that doesn't really look like Christian Bale. That doesn't really look like Heath Ledger. That doesn't. It just they didn't fit all the way. And then ever since, like I feel like we're going in the direction of,
Well, that's why I bought the 6-inch versions instead. They're smaller than McFarlane's. and they look so much better, and they're better proportioned, better detailed. So that's why I decided to collect those. But no, so the Batwing comes with a 12-inch figure, a little dusty, but it actually is not like the 12-inch figure. Like I'm gonna put a little shadowing on the face to kind of darken it up a little bit. Like the 12-inch looks pretty dang legit, man. For $40 you get this giant Batwing, and then this is like a $10 figure, right? But it's actually pretty freaking baller, man. I love the Returns Batman symbol. Like there's a special place in my heart for 89, and like the whole aesthetic of 89 I prefer. Like I would have loved to have seen an 89 body with this symbol, but
Yeah.
this is killer. This is ridiculous. I'm so happy. So happy. Like just I'm so happy. So anyway, I've got hold on. I'm gonna set this down. I got nowhere to set anything down in here. It's so crazy. But I bought the Flying Fox. I bought the Nightcrawler for the 6-inch scale that fits the 4-inch scale. I bought what else did I buy? Finally got me a Batman Forever Batmobile. So now I've got the jet and the boat and everything, man. Like the display's coming along. I pre-ordered the I know I'm out of hand. I know. I pre-ordered the McFarlane Batboat for 66. Like I cannot. I'm losing my mind. I'm so excited for the Flash. Like if it sucks, I'm gonna be pissed because I'm overly excited. All things Batman right now.
You gotta chill, man. You're gonna blow your money.
Oh yeah, but it's nice because like the Spin Master, like the Flying Fox dude, is like it's bigger than that, and I think I got it for like $35, and it's awesome looking. Like once I actually unbox it, I'll show you. It's baller, dude. The Nightcrawler is badass. Like it's pretty cool. Like you can actually like that's what's nice about the 4-inch scale and the vehicles and stuff like that. It's actually affordable. Like McFarlane's $250 Batwing, that's not happening. You know what I mean? Like the Batmobile for $60 that McFarlane's putting out, I don't have room for that thing, and it doesn't scale with anything that I need it with. I'm buying it. There's no question. Buying it yesterday.
Man, the only things that I'm looking forward to that are coming out or already out that I don't have is NECA RoboCop. I want that so bad, and I know I'm gonna screw around and it and then not have it. And then Trick or Treat Studios, the Halloween 6 Halloween Resurrection figure, but also more than that, they announced by the end of the year they're gonna have the Rob Zombie Michael Myers masks at the $70 price mark. And they're going to have 4 variations. So, beginning at H1, of course, the Myers Warren H1. They're going to have the dream sequence, 2, and then the end sequence with Face Rip, Halloween 2. And it is really hard to find the willpower to not just splurge and buy all 4, even though I do not have the money for it because I want them all. I want them all on display. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
You have to start pumping out some masks, man.
Nobody wants hockey masks anymore, man. Ever since the game kind of died down and then Michael Myers became all the rage again, and also, I mean, it used to cost me about $25 in supplies to make just the hockey mask. That's not the straps. That's paint. That's chevrons. And then when you add in the straps, about 30, 35. Now, the plastic itself for the masks has gone up so high that blank kits are about $60 a piece.
Holy cow.
It's just a blank and either your stencil chevrons or your sticker chevrons. And it's like, nope, I can't do that. Can't pull that off. And then you still got to drill it, sand it, paint, strap it. No, that's not worth it. Because then in the end, nobody wants to spend 110, $120 on the thing, and then nobody wants to pay the shipping on them
Right. God dang.
through the roof. So it's kind of like a dead end market. If you are in the market to be an artist in something like this, you gotta find something original or something that people want that isn't already being made by somebody else to be able to knock down that door. A lot of artists, since the raise of shipping and cost of materials has gone so high, they're not able to keep it going like they were. A lot of them certain things just because they didn't sell very much. So they're like been discontinued for now. Yeah.
That sucks, man. God, that sucks. Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, maybe there'll be more of a demand. Not that you're going to get back into it, but maybe there'll be more of a demand once the series comes out and the movie and whatnot.
Man, I don't know. It's weird. I think I am kind of getting that old grumpy feeling where I'm like, maybe they shouldn't release it. Like maybe it should just be left. Like, can they really top what's already been done? On that note, uh, Saw and Five Nights at Freddy's are going to be released on the same day this October.
Seems like a strange. Seems strange to do that.
Could be a fun double feature though.
Yeah, I've got kids. I don't think I can do double features unless it's like you just lose sleep, which is always an option, but not a fun one.
I guess in movie news, that's kind of the things I got. Is I read that The Crow is wrapped filming. I've read about Five Nights at Freddy's and Saw being released the same day, which I'm shocked it's gonna back down and pull theirs back a week or something. Um, I have seen rumors about the Batman 2 villain. Last I read was Clayface. Um,
Supposed to be Mr. Freeze and Clay. Originally, it was Mr. Freeze, but I think that would have played a lot better than Clayface. I just don't see this Batman. Like we've talked about it. I said with Ben Affleck, you could have Clayface. That's literally the villain I went to. This Batman, it doesn't fit this world yet. You're gonna have to sell it. We'll have to see. I think it might be like a Christopher Nolan where it's like Clayface, but like not really Clayface.
the comic line where one of the Clayface variants was like somebody who got in an accident and was disfigured and used a drug to keep his figure during the day and stuff like that. And he got the name Clayface because of how he looked without the drug. So I could see that kind of thing working, but again, it's still a little bit much. I don't know. I am interested to see what happens with that just because I have to admit, although I think the Batman is just another attempt at a Nolan verse, I will see the next one and I hope that it is better than the Batman. I hope that it raises the bar because, the Batman wasn't a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. It just wasn't the best either. So hopefully they can top it. And sadly, The Flash is going to be the last time that we get to see Ben Affleck as Cape Crusader, and likely the last time we'll see Mike as the Cape Crusader.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know that I'm assuming that marketability of the Flash, you've got to lean on Michael Keaton, but I'm really feeling like, and it's smart because I feel like they haven't shown too much of the movie. Like they're holding a lot back. Like they don't want you to know twists and turns and maybe other cameos and things like that are coming. So I appreciate that, but like I am afraid that you are trying to sell me a movie based on my nostalgia and the fact that you can't market your main actor. You know what I mean? Like, and I want to say, so last week whatever. Yeah, last week we were talking about Ezra Miller, and I had mentioned, I was like, I just don't care. I just want to see this movie mostly for Michael Keaton. Like, if again, like, so I watched like 2.5 to 3 hours worth of Ezra Miller stuff, like where like people were condemning him, but they were like, well, but on the other side of this, like also there is some conspiracy that people were trying to manipulate the situation to make them look bad. And like the kidnapping thing, like the apparently the gal is 18 or 19 now, like but Ezra met them back in like when they were 12 or something like that. And I don't know the extent. And then there's weird things happening at Ezra's house, and like people are staying there, and like there's very strange and different stuff that's happening. But like the parents of the daughter apparently are also kind of controlling and weird, and like they are kind of not a trustworthy source of like what's happening. She's gone on social media to say, look, everything's fine, like we're good, like I don't need therapy or help or blah blah blah. But there is another side of that that's like, well, yeah, but that could be side of the manipulation or whatever. Like, again, if stuff is true, I obviously don't support that horrible negative lifestyle, but I don't know. Like, again, we talked about Michael Jackson. Like, does everything look strange and weird, and does it not vibe right with the rest of the world and stuff like that? 100,000%. If everything was true about what happened, of course I don't think that's okay. Do I know? Was I there? No. Do I like Michael Jackson's music? Yeah, it's good. Like I don't own it. I don't buy it. It's not like I like buy movie posters, and you know what I'm saying? It's like I like the uh, I like the acting by Ezra Miller in all the movies he's been in so far. Like for The Flash, they've been in so far, excuse me. And I just think that Ezra is a phenomenal actor, and I hope that things are better than we know. I don't know. I don't know. You know kind of what I'm saying. Like I'm saying, obviously, if things are bad, I don't subscribe to that. But like at the same time, I don't know. And I just don't want to die on a hill for entertainment that like I've been waiting for 31 years to see Michael Keaton on the big screen. I'm hoping that like somebody knows more than I do, like studios, that they're not as like supportive and crap like that. You know what I mean? I'm hoping like there's some stuff that somebody else knows, that that's why Michael Keaton's on board, because it looks bad if everybody else supports Ezra as well. If it's truly, I don't know, not trying to get on some big soapbox or anything else like that. I just want to go and enjoy the movie, and I don't want to be a villain for supporting a supposed villain. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not supporting that. I just want to watch this freaking movie.
Well, it made me think, another Victor Miller movie that was phenomenal that people don't really talk about that much is Powder. But you know what? I love that movie. It is a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend anybody watching definitely go check out Powder. And again, it makes you kind of feel ick because he did it. He's not paid the price because he's got deep pockets and so do his friends. But
You meaning Victor Salva, right?
yeah, Victor Salva. Sorry, I'm tired, man. Victor
Well, no,
Miller.
it's good. And like, there's another small thing I want to say that sometimes you have that knee jerk, right, to want to hate evil and bad things when you hear evil and bad things, right? And that's fine. That's a good thing. Like you don't support evil, bad things. Good. But at the same time, like look at Johnny Depp, right? When that stuff came out that he was an abuser, a horrible person, stuff like that, is he eccentric? Yes. Did everybody know he drank a lot and did all that stuff? Yeah, but they didn't know to the extent, right? Like everybody mostly condemned Johnny Depp instantly when somebody else said that they were the victim and that this happened, right? And then it came out that it's just a crappy situation all around. Like there's not really a mastermind villain in this. Like both of them kind of didn't vibe right and kind of bled off of each other, and it was so like toxic that they just kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's one of those things where it's like I'm not gonna virtue signal and die on a hill about something I don't know everything about, and like I don't have the time to completely research it, and I don't, that's not my thing. Like convicted 100%, you know, blah blah blah. Then obviously let's go there. We can go there. Like when it's been talked and explored and investigated, and yada yada. But like it's just scary that like you can I don't know. Where there's smoke, there's fire sometimes, but I just like to have people also to have their day in court as well. And I just think about the Johnny Depp thing about how fast he got canceled and you know got fired off of Harry Potter and Pirates of the Caribbean, and then you come and find out that he's kind of innocent to a degree, like at least of what he was accused of. You know what I'm saying? Like so again, I felt really icky last week where I was like, you know, I didn't want it to come off that I was supportive of this of the villainous stuff. I just wanted to say I don't know, and I just want to. I can't. You know what I'm saying? I hope I've explained that a little bit better because I felt icky last week after I was talking about that.
No, I get you. I knew what you were saying. You're good.
Okay, okay, but yeah, it's you know that gray in life, and like sometimes you say things and you have to have more of a conversation because that kind of stuff deserves more of a thought than just blah. And you're like, oh well, I don't want that to come off the wrong way. But anyway, we're reaching the 2 hour mark. It has been a lot of fun. Thank God we've been able to get to this because I've been pumped out of my mind. Now I'm gonna start turning the dial to Evil Dead and to Batman movies. So I would love to get a Batman Forever commentary going, you know, kind of go into some of the other Batmans and talk about that. That'll be fun. Evil Dead Rise is right around the corner, I believe. Is that right? Like,
April 20 something, I think.
gotcha. So maybe next week we can do maybe an Evil Dead 2 commentary or something like that. Like, that'd be fun. I think Evil Dead 2 is a nice little mid ground, right?
Or just do the remake.
I do love me the remake. I do.
Uh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But anyway, guys, if you're watching, if you watched Stepped In today, appreciate it. If you're watching in the future, thank you so much. We will be back soon. I've got a lot of this display stuff I'd like to show off if I ever get to that. And we've got a lot more Batman and Evil Dead and horror movies and nerd stuff coming. So thank you so much. We'll see you later. Bye bye.
Peace.